Hello everyone, welcome to the Cinema Analysis channel. I'm Juzo. This channel will explore the hidden truths of films that are not usually revealed. Today I want to talk about Momo, the man in grey, the villain who destroys a peaceful everyday life. What is their true nature and purpose? If you haven't seen the film, I suggest you watch the film first before watching this video. So let's get started. So did you see the film? Just to confirm, you didn't watch Momo at double speed, right? The beginning of the film is unique. It is different from the beginning of the original story. The steam locomotive that goes through the darkness of the night. The film was released in 1986, so steam locomotives were already not used much in the era. As the background is hidden in the darkness, it is unclear what era it depicts. A man is reading a newspaper on the train. From his clothes, it seems like this is not the era when steam locomotives were popular, probably around 1986. This man is the original author, Ende, played by himself. Suddenly, like an illusion, an old gentleman appeared in front of him. His name is Horst, played by Huston, who is also a film director. The story begins with his conversation with Ende. I could tell it as if it were to happen in the future or in the past. It doesn't really matter to me. A man who appeared like an illusion. The story that could be the past or the future. It is implied that this story could be the one of any eras. In fact, the beginning of the film is the one written in the author's postscript of the original story. The author said that he wrote the exact story told him by a man he met on a train. The beginning of the original story is as follows. Long, long ago, when people spoke language quite different from our own, many fine big cities already existed in the sunny lands of the world. It looks like a beginning of an old tale, but actually it is not. The general beginning of an old tale is once upon a time, and the essence of these old tales is applied also today. But the beginning of Momo is different from these. Usually, the beginning of old tales is once upon a time in English. Es war einmal in German. But this novel uses a different phrase. After describing the past of the place where the story takes place, many years have passed and the protagonist of the story, Momo, appears there. The essence of old tales is that they seem to take place in a different world, but the same thing could happen in the world you live in. Old tales depicts the problems faced by humanity throughout the ages, but a different expression is used. The past is different from the present. It has something to do with the nature of this story. The reason is that the story represents the world at the time when Ende wrote the original story. And the problem still continues now in the 21st century. The story then moves to the ruin of the amphitheater. That is, what used to be an amphitheater. There is the present which has changed from the past. This is where the story begins. And it is also significant that the place is a theater. A theater is a place where stories are played, and it has become a ruin. That is the important metaphor of the story. A girl who appeared at the ruin of the theater and begins to live there is the protagonist, Momo. A girl with dirty clothes that makes everyone frown. The loving neighbors accepted Momo. Momo's best friends are Gigi, a young tour guide, and Beppo, an old street sweeper. Beppo told Momo, "Never think of the whole road at once. Do you understand? Always think only one step at a time." One breath, one stroke of the broom, one at a time. Then it's fun. That's important. Then you do your job well. And that's how it should be. This phrase is the most significant expression in Momo. Many people hold this paper's phrase as a motto. The best thing a human can is to do the thing you can do now with heart. Past is gone. Future has not come yet. All you have is the present. Just to live the present with heart. You just have to do what you want to do with heart. Master Uwe, the character in the film Kung Fu Panda, says that now is the present. Momo is what you call vagabond. Such people are currently excluded or protected by the government in cities. But even now, such people are accepted by ordinary people on some occasions, provided they are aesthetics of something. Aesthetics are not generally wealthy as they can't do any economic activities. That's why they are sometimes given something as charity. Such people are often well versed in the arts or have talent to receive consultation. Entertainers are different from ordinary people. Those who have ability to receive consultation like fortune tellers are also different from ordinary people. For example, people like the Roma are good at that. And Momo also has a special ability. It is to listen to other people talk. And it is written in the original story. Few people can listen to others carefully. There must also be people around you who don't listen to others and give unwanted advice. Even though the people around him are fed up with it, he doesn't even notice. Although he has the experience of the same suffering, he does the same to others. Momo, who can listen to others, solves many people's problems one by one. This is the job of a fortune teller or a counselor. Priests of religions do the same. Momo has the same amazing ability as religious leaders. With Momo's appearance, some people's talent blossomed. They are represented by a young man, Gigi. His musical talent blossoms in the film. This makes him and other people happy. In the original story, he was just a tour guide who boasted, but he became a talented writer. Although his talent is used by the man in gray, creating stories is also part of the entertainment. The stories created by Gigi or the other children are told in Momo. The same goes for Never-Ending Story. This play within a play is a characteristic of Ende's works. What do these play within a play mean in this story? These play within a play were created by the imagination of the ordinary people around Momo. Everybody has his own sensibility and imagination. Everybody has his power to create stories within him. This seems to be the meaning of the play within a play in Momo. Imagination that everybody has. It is Momo who can bring that out. She is the perfect counselor. She can bring out what's in people. The reason she can do that is because she respects others and thinks that other people's stories are worth listening to. And in fact, everybody has their own story. Because she believes this, she can encourage others. That is where the problem arises. It is the appearance of the man in gray. They do exactly the opposite of what Momo does. They deny the imagination of ordinary people as worthless and look down on it. They deny everything as useless and instill the idea that the only value is in living efficiently. Uzi, a hairdresser, was annoyed that his life should be as it is or not. One of the gray men appears in front of him and says this. You are always wasting your time. I will prove this with a simple calculation. The time you spend doing your job, taking care of your mother, spending time with your friends, watching films, reading books, should be added to the negative account. You are killing your time with useless things. The sum will be enormous. You should save and deposit your time. What on earth is their true nature? What do these men in gray mean? Michael Ende, the author of the original story, had experienced the Second World War as a teenager. He was a member of the resistance during the time when the Nazi ruled Germany. There is an opinion that the men in gray are the symbol of Nazi. There could be an influence of Nazi, but there must be another reason why Ende depicted the men in gray. It may be an abstract explanation, but what the men in gray symbolize is the evil done by people who have nothing to love. It is generally thought that the men in gray represent consumerism or materialism. Many people interpret the film's message to be that spirit is more important than material, but that will be a superficial interpretation. There is a reason for this superficial interpretation. The original story, Momo, was published in 1973. In the mid-40s, the Second World War ended, and people began to put all their energy into the capitalist economy. As far as the United States is concerned, by 1960, television sets were in almost 90% of families. TV commercials create a desire for certain products. Mass production and mass consumption accelerate in society. People moved away from independent shops and began to use supermarkets and shopping centers. 1971, the year the writing of Momo started, was already such a year. There is a film called Dawn of the Dead. The film, made in 1978, is about the same thing. Someone who is bitten by a zombie also becomes a zombie. Then people become zombies all the time. The place where the survivors barricade themselves is a shopping mall. The reason why a shopping mall was chosen as the setting for Dawn of the Dead was because George A. Romero, the director and writer of the film, was afraid of the disruption of human culture brought about by mass consumption in society. Huge corporations that need massive profits make massive production and need massive consumption. That's why they brainwash people to love the same things. Media like television are used to the full. Although there should be no one person, not even one, everyone loves the same thing and becomes a similar person. Romero compares the horror to a zombie. The one who worried this phenomenon earlier is Michael Ende. With the advent of the mass consumer society, people forget to enrich their lives with their imagination. This is shown both in the original story and in the film. More and more often these days, children turn up with all kinds of toys you couldn't really play with. Remote control tanks that trundled to and fro but did little else. Or space rockets that whizzed around on strings but got nowhere. Or model robots that waddled along with eyes flashing and heads swiveling, but that was all. It's not only children. Gigi told us. The other day he said, I bumped into an old friend in town, a barber by the name of Figaro. We hadn't met for quite a while, and I hardly recognized him. He was so changed, so irritable and grumpy and depressed. He used to be a cheerful type, always singing, always airing his idea on every subject under the sun. Now, all of a sudden, he hasn't got time for anything like that. The man just a shadow of his former self. He isn't good old Figaro anymore, if you know what I mean. But now comes the really strange part. If he were the only one, I would think he'd gone a bit cracked, but he isn't. There are people like Figaro wherever you look, more and more of them every day. Even some of our oldest friends are going the same way. I'm beginning to wonder if it isn't catching. Fuji should have lived a fulfilled life, but he only pursues efficiency and loses happiness. The other people also change like him. Even adults lose their sense of self and happiness. But the people around Momo regain their sense of self. The men in grey notice this. They try to manipulate Momo in the same way. One of the grey men tried to lure her with a doll called BB Girl, but she didn't react. He gave her more toys and tried to lure her. She didn't deal with him. In the original story, the line of the man in grey is depicted in a form close to what happens in reality. Most of you must have experienced something like this. Someone like you is suitable for such excellent goods. It needs special accessories. How do you like French fries with your hamburger? How about this, or maybe that? Many people try to sell you unnecessary goods. Since he couldn't lure Momo with toy, he tried threatening her next time. Don't even try. You have not much for us. Momo looked him with sad eyes and said, "Doesn't anybody love you?" Then being upset, he told the secret of his companions without realizing it himself. Their purpose is to rob other people's time. The robbing of time itself is the purpose. It is written at the beginning of the 6th chapter of the original novel. Consumerism or materialism is just a means to rob others of their time. Our real world has exactly the same construction. Then why do they rob others of their time? It is because they have nothing to cherish. Those who have nothing to cherish make ruling over others their only reason for living. For them, other people are not something to cherish, but rather to use and control. Their purpose is to extend the length of life, that is all. They have nothing they want to do with their life. They don't use the time to love anything or do anything they like. They have nothing to love in the first place. They simply live longer than others. That's why they rob others of their time and dominate them. The one they hate is the one who has something to love. The one who has something to use their time of life. Hobbies, jobs, human relationships, whatever that may be. They hate the one who has something worth to spend their time. The men in grey have no content as human beings. They are empty. Momo couldn't listen to him. He is empty. They have no content to talk. The original novel describes as follows. But the man in grey was far harder to listen to than anyone she'd ever heard. She could understand what other people meant and what they were like by getting right inside them, so to speak, but with him this was quite impossible. Whenever she tried to read his thoughts, she seemed to plunge headlong into a dark chasm, as if there were nothing there at all. It had never happened to her before. Although they are bossy and act as if they have decent content, it is only a pretense. Mom had sensed it from the start, and they hide their emptiness or haven't even noticed it. That's why they deny something important to other people, calling it waste. The grey man first visits Fuji Ababa in the story. The man in grey's claims were so-called sophistry, and what he was doing was fraud. He dismissed the work that Fuji does with his heart, or his relationship, or his hobby as wasted. What is important is different for each person. Most of it won't be understood by others. That's why it's impossible to prove their value. They deny what you have done as voices and let you do as they teach. That's how they instill a new value system. Actually, it is exactly the same as a brainwash what a cult does. Manipulating others itself is the biggest purpose for cults, and they rob all the possessions of others as a result. The money they robbed will just be splurged. They will never be returned to the victims. To deny the value system of others and rob their possessions, just to do itself is their main purpose. That's why the exploiters have nothing to love. The main ingrate tries to deceive Momo, but Momo is not deceived. The man was upset to hear her essential words. Doesn't anybody love you? Since he is the one who doesn't love anyone, he is not loved by anyone. Someone or something to pursue, whatever may be, he has nothing. He doesn't have anything worse to spend time. The men in grey are portrayed as a secret society. Since the story is a fable, the author Ende must have thought that a similar organization existed in the real world. It will be the one pursuing capitalism. Economic inflation itself has become their end, not the means to achieve happiness. And the idea, which doesn't make anyone happy, spreads like an infection among ordinary people. Someone who is infected becomes another perpetrator. Some people rob from others out of necessity. Such people are better. That's because when they've taken enough, they don't need to rob anymore. But there's no limit for those whose purpose is to rob. There's no limit to the damage they can do. The men in grey are the same as zombies. What they are doing is taking time away from other people. Taking itself is their purpose. There's nothing they want to do with the time they took away. Zombies don't kill humans. They do something worse than murder. They rob humans of their independence and turn them into empty zombies, just like themselves. In order to truly kill people who have something they want to do, they deny the value of what they want to do. The only thing that people who don't want to do anything want is to control others. Are there those kind of people around you? Their only value is to be on the side of the ruler. They just want to recognize that they are the winners. There's nothing else. Since winning is the only value, they will do anything for it. They deny something that someone is passionate about. It's waste. What's the point of doing that? Is it the best in the world? Have you ever been on TV? How much money can you make? Are you a professional? They deny whatever you do. There are people like that everywhere. They must be around you. It is good if you can avoid them, but it is not always possible. Because such people simply don't want to recognize that they are empty inside. They often end up just denying the other person. In the worst case, your property and labor are taken away from you. Those who don't have anything to love want to rule others. So why do they have nothing to love? Let me quote, although it is not exactly correct. It is what Erich Fromm, the German psychoanalyst, depicts as follows in his book, The Art of Loving. People are consciously afraid of not being loved by others, but in reality they are unconsciously afraid to love someone. To love is to take action even though there are no guarantees, and to trust in the hope that if we love, love will surely be born in the other person's heart, and we can entrust ourselves to it. Love is an act of faith, and those who do not have faith cannot love. There is no guarantee that someone you love will like you. There is also no guarantee that you will be good at something you like. You can't say that your feeling of loving something doesn't fluctuate. In fact, it fluctuates greatly. Even if you fall in love with something, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will work out. In many cases, it doesn't work out. It is excruciatingly painful for most people. That's why many people turn their backs on something they love. It is his freedom to escape from something he loves, but he spreads it around him like an infection. The aforementioned Erich Fromm wrote a book called Escape from Freedom. Everyone is supposed to want to escape from unpleasantness, but Fromm said that people want to give up their freedom. To summarize Fromm's opinion, it is as follows. First of all, man hasn't had his freedom for a long time. Inconvenience means being connected to a group of society that is larger than each individual. Human needed the sense of security which belongs to inconvenience. But to be free is to live as you wish, not to follow what others say. It means to be apart from a larger group or society, to be alone. Man cannot bear the fear of being alone. That is why people escape from freedom. Sigmund Freud, the German psychoanalyst, states the similar thing. Most people don't really want freedom. With freedom comes responsibility. Most people are afraid of responsibility. With freedom comes responsibility. It does not mean that freedom is a bad thing and you will be punished if you experience freedom. It is your freedom to choose freedom or not. If you choose freedom and don't succeed, you cannot blame others. You have to admit that the choice was your fault. That is what the responsibility that comes with freedom means. Man fears it and throws away freedom. Actually, since it is your freedom to throw away freedom or not, even if something bad happens to you by throwing away freedom, it will be nothing but your responsibility. The men in gray, who have nothing to love and have never been loved by anyone, only desire to live longer than others. They steal time from others through the deception that you can get payback by seeking efficiency. Momo is the story of her who confronts the fraud. The one who helps her is the turtle called Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia is the best sign to find the North Star. The only star that doesn't move in the sky is the North Star. It is nowhere else in this story. Cassiopeia leads Momo there. Incidentally, Casio, a Japanese electronics company, comes from the name of its Japanese founder, Coscia, and has nothing to do with the constellation Cassiopeia or Greek myth. And Cassiopeia, the turtle, slowly leads her to the nowhere house. Cassiopeia can see 30 minutes into the future and knows where to go to avoid trouble. Walk, don't run. This is the best way to avoid being caught by the man in gray. Momo reached the nowhere house and met an old gentleman called Master Horror. His proper name in German is Meister Secundus Minutius Hora. This means second, minute, hour. His name represents time. He is a custodian of time. Hora gives time to everyone equally. But most cannot decide what to do with it. In the original novel, Hora says, "What people do with their time is their own business. They must guard it themselves. I can only distribute it." He also says, "If you really understood what death is, you'll never be afraid." If they weren't afraid, nobody could ever steal their times. Hearing this, Momo says, "Then all we have to do is to tell them." But Hora replies, "I try to tell them, but they won't listen to me. They'd rather believe those who frighten them. I'm not frightened, Momo replies. What is the death that horror regards? Reincarnation might or might not be the condition in the world of this story. Interpretation differs from each person. One certain thing is that if you live your life spending time for somebody you love or something you like Momo, Gigi, or Beppo, you have no time to worry about death. People without any object to love are afraid of death. They just think to expand their lifetime. The flower in the Noe house is a symbol of life. It is time that can be used by someone like Momo, who cherishes the given life. When the time is up and death comes, they won't be sorry. Something created by a fulfilled life will continue to influence the world after their death. In contrast, time of the men in grey is symbolized by their cigars. It is only to become smoke and disappear. It is their time for those who have nothing to do in their lives. In the original, Horror said that the men in grey are something that doesn't exist. No, the human appearance is only a disguise. Strictly speaking, they are nothing. They exist only because people give them the opportunity to do so. Naturally, they seize the opportunity. Now the people are giving them a chance to rule their lives. They are naturally taking advantage of that too. As from say, people don't want freedom. They even flee from it. But naturally, men are supposed to be able to live each their lives as their own will. Momo takes action to get back the time for people. The two of them thought of a strategy like this. Horror falls asleep and time stops. The men in grey can no longer steal time, so they head to their own time storage. Momo follows them and annihilates them by preventing them from using time they kept in the storage. So the operation was successful and peace came to the world. The interesting thing about this climax is that Momo didn't fight the men in grey. They killed each other, as they sought to ensure only their own survival. And they reduced their numbers. Even one of them becomes the last survivor. He has nothing he wants to do in his life. Even if he had, it would be to live longer than others by taking the time of others. There are two kinds of freedom according to Fromm. Freedom from and freedom to. This is the difference between freedom and liberty in English. To be free from something negative is freedom. That's why efficiency is emphasized. But the more you emphasize efficiency, the less time you have. This is because you have forgotten what you want to do with the time you have saved. For example, it is not your duty to watch films. And yet, some people watch films at double speed and think they have done some kind of duty efficiently. In the first place, you don't have to do anything that's not worth your time. It is dangerous to lose your independence to think about what is valuable for you. Each individual becomes independent and acts freely to get what he wants. It is to seek liberty. Most people don't get there. What is the thing that you, only one person in the world, like? Just thinking about it makes you feel disconnected from others and lonely. Then freedom is thrown away. What the men in grey symbolize is the evil done by people who have nothing to love. When everyone loses their authenticity, it creeps up. And they predicted that people would lose their individuality with the advent of the mass consumer society. Then the prediction came true, and it continues to this day in the 21st century. It is a one-sided idea that what Ende feared was the mass consumer society or the materialistic society. The biggest problem is that we forget to pursue our own happiness with our own imagination. Now, in the 21st century, the informatization of society has progressed in ways that were unimaginable in the 1970s. Internet or AI can guess and suggest each user's preference. It is becoming increasingly difficult for people to think and act individually with their imagination. Like the story of Momo, this situation will end one day. The day will come when everyone can pursue their own happiness individually. But when will that be? Many people will die before that day comes. Momo was written in the early 70s. Many years have passed since then. Culture or curiosity is necessary to keep people's imagination alive. It is not easy. And whenever a man's imagination becomes weak, the man in gray appears. It is written in the postscript of the novel and at the beginning of the film. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up.